So we all can agree Ohio State's gonna be scary next year. Coming off of a somewhat down year for Ohio State standards, Ryan Day knew that after losing to Michigan in 3 straight years, he was in the hot seat and he needed to do something fast. And so why not push all your chips in and go all in for the 2024 season? The Buckeyes landed the 3rd best high school recruiting class in the country, with their top 5 recruits consisting of 4-star QB Aaron Nolan, 5-star corner Aaron Scott, 5-star wide receiver Mylan Graham, 5-star edge rusher Edric Houston, and 5-star recruit and the #1 player in the class of 2024, Jeremiah Smith. But we can agree, we're all kind of used to Ohio State dominating in the high school ranks, but what they did in the transfer portal this offseason is one of the best performances that we have seen. The Buckeyes have the 8th best transfer portal class in the country, but it's the quality of pieces that they brought in that really makes this transfer portal class special. Bringing in guys like 4-star offensive lineman from Alabama, Seth McLaughlin, 4-star quarterback from Kansas State, Will Howard, who looks to be the potential QB1 for the Buckeyes next season, landing the #1 running back in the portal in superstar RB from Ole Miss, Quinshon Judkins, and landing the #1 player available in the transfer portal in 5-star safety from Alabama, Caleb Downs. Now you might have noticed that I left one name off of that transfer portal list, but we'll get to talking about him in a little bit. So in the 2024 offseason, Ohio State landed not only the #1 player in high school, but the #1 available prospect in the transfer portal. That is what I call elite. And I think that every Buckeye fan can agree with me that it definitely wasn't the defense that was holding y'all back last season. It was that offense. And so today I want to take a look at all of the top prospects that the Buckeyes brought in on the offensive side of the ball through the high school ranks to show what pieces you're going to be adding that is going to take Ohio State's offense back to where they normally are and even further. Now I want to keep this video entertaining, but I want to give a huge shout out to the offensive line pieces that the Buckeyes brought in the 2024 class. They brought in guys like 4-star twin offensive tackles Devontae and Deontay Armstrong, both of whom are 6'6", 280 pounds, and one is 6'5", 297 pounds. They also brought in 4-star interior offensive lineman Gabe Van Sickle, who is the 26th best interior offensive lineman in the country, and 4-star interior offensive lineman Ian Moore, who is the 5th best interior offensive lineman in the class of 2024. All right, so let's get straight into it and take a look at the Ohio State Buckeyes' top offensive pickups that they brought in the class of 2024. Be sure to leave this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. Starting it off, the Buckeyes landed 3-star RB Sam Williams Dixon, standing at 5'11" and 205 pounds. This kid, hey, you can see he just absolutely just ran through a whole team right there. He's a very solid running back prospect overall. He's got that prototypical size that you want for an RB, 5'11", 205 pounds. He's a guy that he's giving you above average speed, but he's not going to be killing you with his elite level speed. It's really just his overall well-rounded game that really makes him an exciting prospect for the Buckeyes, because he's one of those guys that if he just hits the weight room a little bit harder, if he just understands the concept, if he knows where to run, he's going to be a guy that can consistently get you 3.5, 4, 5 yards a touch. Just one of those guys that he's constantly falling forward. He constantly puts himself in the right position. If he's able to be that for the Buckeyes, he could definitely find himself getting some quality playing time in a shared backfield scenario. Being able to catch the ball in the backfield. Swoop, nope, ankles. Get off me, little boy. Next up, the Buckeyes landed 4-star tight end Demarion Witten, standing at 6'4", 215 pounds. I've actually already seen this kid's highlight tape. This dude is going to be a problem for the Buckeyes. I'm talking about a guy who is giving you wide receiver, a whole wide receiver skill set, but just in a big body frame. I mean, 6'4", 215 pounds in high school. You already know that kid's going to be 6'4", 225, 222 by the time that he's ready to be playing full time. This kid is going to be a great mix of being able to run any route that you need him to. He's going to be elusive, and there's not going to really be a safety or a linebacker that you're going to feel comfortable putting on to try and guard him. But then he's also going to be able to be a great blocking addition as well. I think Demarion Witten, out of all the players, because I've covered most of Ohio State's offensive recruits already, I think Demarion Witten might be one of the sleeper picks. He's just a overall great addition. I mean, just look at, it's just little small things. Like, look at how well he just catches this ball, boom, perfectly in his hands, looks it all the way through. I think Demarion Witten could be a guy that could be a early riser for the Buckeyes. You know, a lot of these guys, like for example, Marvin Harrison Jr. was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Demarion Witten's a 4-star tight end prospect. I can see him not having the same level of success as a Marvin Harrison Jr., but I can see him rising like how Marvin Harrison Jr. did. Give me that high point, easy. Next up, the Buckeyes had a double down at the tight end position, and they landed another 4-star tight end in Max LeBlanc. Get off me, little boy. He's 6'3.5", 222 pounds. So you're getting two big body tight ends who are going to be just great offensive receiving options. I mean, look at how quick that he is right there. And then the little snap off at the top of the route, and then able to high point in. Him and Demarion Witten, that's going to be a elite combo at tight end. I can see the Buckeyes running a lot more 2 tight end sets just because whenever you're able to get 2 big body tight ends on a field, you're immediately putting a defense into just a very tricky situation because what are you gonna do? You can't have a safety always shadow over the top, because we all know Ohio State has the best wide receivers in the country. So when you're able to congest a lot of that over the top help to having to help a bunch of tight ends or to cover a bunch of tight ends, then all of a sudden your wide receivers are able to just run all over the field. So I think Ohio State could find a lot of success running 2 tight end sets, like 22 personnel, where I think that they could definitely 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, having the tight ends just run a bunch of just stuff to clog up the middle, and then letting the wide receivers play true island ball on the outside with just corners that they're never going to be able to actually stop them. Sit down. Great block right there. I think Max LeBlanc and Demarion Witten, that's going to be a nice combo right there. Next up, we all know that the Buckeyes know how to find themselves some RB talent. They already got Travion Henderson. They just added Quinshon Judkins. Why not add another top tier RB in the 7th best running back in the country and 4-star recruit James Peoples? This kid is 5'9.5", 200 pounds, and he is just a rocket out of the backfield. But think of him more as like a cannonball rocket rather than like a laser ship rocket, if that makes any sense. He's more physical. He's really just hard to bring down. He's just going to be able to bounce off a lot of tacklers, and he makes sure that when he finds a gap, he hits it hard. He's not a guy that's really timid. I mean, you see him just running as hard as he can through any lane that he finds. I think that James Peoples, he's gonna need some time to develop and just be able to play the game at the college level. I mean, look at him just run through this kid's face right here. He didn't slow down at all. He said, yeah, bring that on. Bow. Get off of me. Broke that off for another, like, almost 10 yards. James Peoples, he's a guy that once he finds his lane for the Buckeyes, he's definitely going to be I think that college football and just football as a whole is going away from these just like one back does it all type of backfields. I think that James Peoples, sit down. He could be like he could be like a Mylan Williams. I think that he could be a guy that could really give you quality playing time, quality reps, 5 yards a carry on 10 to 12 touches a game. I think that could definitely be a guy like James Peoples for sure. Yeah, we showing off the hands too. Let's go. All right, now we have the first player that this could be a little bit interesting. This is 4-star quarterback and the 4th best quarterback in the country, Air Nolan. He is 6'2", 195 pounds. You added another player in this recruiting class that you're not supposed to be able to get this much talent in the QB room in one class. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I don't think that you're actually going to be retaining this guy. I think he's either going to hit the transfer portal or he's just going to be a backup, because I think when you're adding Will Howard, who's more than likely going to be the week 1 starter, you also have Devin Brown on the field as well. You're also bringing in another guy that we're about to get to here in just a little bit. I think that there's just way too much talent. I think a guy like Air Nolan could be a starter at a lot of college programs very early. So don't be surprised if he ends up hitting the transfer portal after his freshman year. But I think this kid Mechanically, he's one of the cleanest quarterbacks I've seen coming out of high school. I mean, he just has very polished mechanics overall. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly, nice quick release. He gives you all the things that you're looking for in a quarterback. I mean, at one point he was ranked as a 5-star quarterback. I think this kid, he's definitely, wherever he ends up playing, whether he becomes Ohio State starter or he ends up transferring to another school, I think that this kid, he's going to be something special wherever he ends up getting to play. Oh, look at, I mean, just look at the awareness right there. Now we starting to get into some 5-star recruits, and you know, it's Ohio State. They had to get at least one 5-star wide receiver. This is Mylan Graham, the 7th best wide receiver in the class of 2024. He's 6'1", 170 pounds. He might be one of the nastiest route runners I have ever seen. There's a clip going around online. You can look it up. He's at one of these camps where he absolutely torches a player, and he has one of the quickest releases I have ever seen. I think that he's going to be he's going to be a guy that really shocks people when he gets to Ohio State. I know that he's a 5-star recruit. How is he going to shock? Watch. I think the level of talent that the Buckeyes are bringing in this year at wide receiver is going to be better, if not, it's going to be at least up to par with the Jackson Smith-Njigba and Marvin Harrison Jr. class. I'm telling y'all that right now. Mylan Graham is the truth. He's going to be a star for the Buckeyes. Coming open across the middle, let it out, and dime, let's go. Easy walk-in touchdown. Okay, so here's where things get interesting. This is 5-star recruit and the 3rd best quarterback in the entire country, Julian Sayin. Now, if you guys remember, I said that you guys also brought in the 4th best quarterback in the country in Aaron Nolan. Landing 2 top 5 quarterbacks in one class never happens. I'm pretty sure this is the first time it's happened, but it didn't happen in a normal way. Julian Sayin was originally committed to Alabama. When Nick Saban retired, he decommitted, hit the portal, and immediately went to Ohio State. I'm interested to see what this quarterback battle is going to look like, because when you have Aaron Nolan and Julian Sayin in the same QB room, you're talking about some of the best quarterback prospects that we have seen in the past 5 years in one room. This kid, he's not giving you as much athletically. I know you're seeing him running around on the field, but that's because he's going up against high school competition. He's not giving you much athletically as Aaron Nolan does. I think that his level of polish is slightly more than Aaron Nolan's. I know that I talked about, oh, Aaron Nolan is extremely polished, which he is. I think that Julian Sayin just slightly more polished. Both of these guys, funny enough, have actually very similar play styles. They're very clean quarterbacks. They like to stay in the pocket. They want to get the ball out in timing, in rhythm. They want to play in structure. They can play out of structure, but I think that they play the best when they're in structure. It'll be interesting to see. The fact that you guys landed this much quarterback talent in one class is really just going to be, I cannot wait to see what the reports are looking like and seeing maybe some spring practice. I cannot wait to see Ohio State's spring game, because these guys, you're talking about the best quarterbacks in the entire country coming in one recruiting class. But hey, this is Julian Sayin. Watch him go get a block. And bop, there he is, okay. And last but certainly not least, come on, it's Ohio State. You know they had to bring in 2 5-star wide receivers, and why not bring in the #1 player in the entire country and the #1 wide receiver in the class, Jeremiah Smith. This kid is 6'3", 210 pounds, and is built like Julio Jones. Like, this dude, he is one of the most gifted athletes to come out of high school at the wide receiver position, probably since Dorial Green Beckham. Like, this guy, I just got him at high pointed with the one hand. When you're talking about the verticality, just being able to take the top off a defense, like, this kid is on another level. I've seen him go up against 4 5-star recruits at corner. Anybody that you put him up against, he is cooking them. Jeremiah Smith, this kid, he is going to be something special. I know it's bold claims, but we've seen it just get better and better and better each and every single year. We saw, hey, Michael Thomas, it's not going to get better than that. Oh, okay, then we go to Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. Oh, it's not going to get better than that. Then you get Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's not going to get better than that. Marvin Harrison Jr., who's the best of all of them. Jeremiah Smith might be the best out of everyone. Like, this kid just, when you're talking about, none of them had the athleticism that Jeremiah Smith does. Like, don't get me wrong, they were all great athletes. Jeremiah Smith is like Randy Moss level athletic. Like, this kid is something special. I mean, just when he clicks into that next gear, it's just unstoppable. So those are all of the offensive pickups that the Buckeyes brought in the class of 2024. I need y'all to first comment down below. Who do you guys think, if let's just say that both Aaron Nolan and Julian Sayin stay at Ohio State, who do you think is winning that quarterback battle? You're talking about the 3rd and 4th best quarterback. You're not talking about the 3rd and the 24th best quarterback. You're talking about 2 top 5 quarterbacks in the same class. Who do you think is going to win that QB battle? I always go back and forth. Julian Sayin, see, here I'm just gonna talk with y'all for a little bit. Aaron Nolan, when I first saw his highlight tape, I thought that this kid was so special. I saw him as a sophomore. I thought, wow, this kid really has a great arm. He could really spin it. He has great velocity. I was really extremely impressed with this highlight tape when I first saw his highlight tape. Julian Sayin, on the other hand, when I saw him as a sophomore, I wasn't that impressed. Like, I thought he was a good and accurate quarterback, but at that time, he was ranked as the 2nd best quarterback behind Dylan Raiola. I was like, that's kind of high praise. And then I saw Alabama recruited him and that he was committed to Alabama. I'm like, who is this? Like, he's good, but he's not that elite. As I've seen him more, as I've seen him at camps, as I've seen him in the Elite 11, when I saw just how polished of a quarterback that he was, he really grew on me. I don't know. At this point, if you told me to pick, I really wouldn't know unless I was in camp watching them both throw the ball live. I think that both of these guys have equally as good of a chance to be Ohio State's starting quarterback. I just think because a lot of things were invested to get Julian Sayin to go to Ohio State, I think that you might have more of a tendency to push him towards that QB1 than Aaron Nolan, but we'll see. I want to hear you guys in the comment section down below. Leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts also on who you guys are most excited about besides Jeremiah Smith, besides all the quarterbacks, besides the quarterbacks and Jeremiah Smith. Who are you guys most excited about out of this recruiting class? For me, like I said before, I think it's Demarion Witten. I think that kid is going to be something special for the Buckeyes. He's just such a talented overall tight end. I think he's going to give a lot of versatility to the Buckeyes offense, being able to use an athletic tight end like that. But I want to hear from all y'all. Comment your thoughts down below. Leave this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all your notifications. We are dropping daily videos every single day. If daily wasn't clicking, it means every single day we're dropping a new video, keeping you up to date with everything going on in college football. A lot of those videos are centered around Ohio State. So if you're a Buckeye fan, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. And with all that being said, I love and appreciate each and every single last one of y'all. Hey, I know the world can get a little crazy sometimes. I just want to, slow things down a little bit, really just talk with all my viewers. If you're going through anything in life, I know that people don't really take time anymore to stop and ask people how they're doing, but in all seriousness, how are you doing? Are you okay mentally? Like, don't immediately respond. Really ask yourself, like, how are you feeling? And then if you're looking for a response, I can't respond to every single last one of y'all, but I do know somebody who can. And that is Jesus Christ. Whether you've already heard of Jesus Christ, whether you're a believer or you've never heard of him, or you really just don't even care, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, Jesus Christ loves us more than we will ever be able to understand. And all he wants to do is just pour out his love onto us and into our lives, and really just show us the better way to live life. If you're ever just going through life lost, if you're ever just having that feeling like there's something missing in life, trust me, it's never going to be money. It's never going to be a new pair of clothes, new car, whatever you think that is going to fill that hole. It is never going to be that. It is always going to be Jesus Christ. Always remember that. Love and appreciate all y'all, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.